Did John Cena's first heel promo impress me? March Madness is this week. Did you do your bracket? I did mine. We're going to go look at my final four and my winner. It'll all be revealed later on in this episode. Pogs just turned 30. Pogs is entering a new decade, and Pogs is excited to start this episode of the podcast. Welcome to the Pogcast. Welcome. We're going to dive right in to my favorite story from this week. John Cena is back on Raw after turning heel at the Elimination Chamber in Toronto. He teamed up with The Rock. He's on the dark side now. Absolutely decimated Cody Rhodes in the middle of that ring. Travis Scott was there. He punched Cody Rhodes and slapped him in the face and the side of the head, gave him a black eye, and damaged his eardrum. So maybe not going to see Travis Scott anymore. And I was very excited to hear what John Cena had to say on the episode of Raw that followed the Elimination Chamber. But John Cena wasn't there. He went back to film his movie, and he was going to be gone for 2 weeks. So I've been stewing for 2 weeks, just waiting to hear John Cena's first heel promo. I've been a John Cena fan since Thugonomics, and I was very excited to see him turn heel. I've wanted him to turn heel for a while now. I always liked his character, but you could tell it was getting a little stale. He'd been doing it for a couple decades. And that's why the fans you hear the, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. And it's split 50-50 because it's kind of like the Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. You just get fatigued of them winning all the time. And John Cena did win all the time. And he won 16 world championships, which is tied with Ric Flair for the most. That's why he's back for this one last final year, his farewell tour. He's trying to win that 17th world championship so that he can be alone on the top as the greatest WWE superstar of all time. So let's get into the promo here. So he came back. It was on Raw yesterday in Brussels. Was it Brussels? It's in Belgium. So it was on at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Netflix. And I was super excited to watch it. I was stoked. I was worried they were going to save it for the end of the show, but he came out right at the top of the show. Now, before I get into the promo, I had a lot of hype for this promo. I was anticipating it for the whole 2 weeks. I might have given it a little bit too much hype. And I'm going to be super honest with you guys. I was a little underwhelmed by his promo. After his promo, I went online. I was curious to see if people had the same thoughts as me. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people were like, this is great. This is great. And then as the night went on, I started to see a couple posts that were similar to my point of view on it and be like, yeah, a little underwhelming, a little whiny, not quite what I was expecting. And maybe I set the expectations too high, but I watched it again and I had the same kind of thoughts. There were a lot of things I liked about it. So I'll get into those and I'll get into the things I didn't like about it. So the things that I liked about his promo, I liked that he didn't change his ring gear and that he didn't change his music. Now going into it, I was excited to see if he would change his ring gear and if he would change his music. And when he came out, a little bit of disappointment initially, but then he mentioned in his promo, and this is why I like it now, is he said, I've been reading online. I saw you guys were expecting me to change my ring gear. You guys were excited for me to change my ring gear. You guys were excited for me to change my song. Well, guess what? Too bad. His whole promo was about how the fans just take and take and take, and they give nothing back, and they haven't earned anything, and they're gonna get nothing. John Cena is John Cena. I'm gonna keep wearing the same clothes I've always worn. I'm gonna keep coming out to my theme song that I sing. That's me singing it. And I'm going to do what I want to do. And you guys don't get a say. You guys get nothing. So I liked that a lot. I liked how he started the promo, where the fans were just going absolutely ballistic, so loud, wouldn't let him talk. And he just dropped the mic in the middle of the ring and pretended like he was going to leave. And then they all kind of quieted down and did like a softer boost. So then he said, okay, picked up the mic. They started screaming again, dropped the mic again, almost treating them like children, like a teacher that raises their hand in the air and stops talking and just stares at the class waiting for them to stop talking, and then they slowly stop talking and then they continue with their lesson. I liked that. I liked that he was and then he started the promo. He was very quiet and I can't remember exactly word for what he said, so I'm not going to say it, but he just said something very, very sternly and very calmly. And I was like, oh, I like this. I like the demeanor that he's doing it with. But then as as the promo progressed, he started kind of getting really whiny. He was blaming the fans for this heel turn, and I was like, I don't think that adds up too much. Like, I get that could be a portion of it, but I really think he should have focused on the fact that, hey, I'm going to be selfish during this last year because I want that championship. So I'm not doing it for you guys anymore. I'm doing this for me. So you guys can cheer me or boo me. You guys can think I'm a babyface or a heel, but I'm John Cena. You know what? I've talked about the promo enough. You guys can go watch it if you want. I didn't love the promo. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was the best promo he's ever done. It's definitely a better promo than most WWE superstars could pull off. But I'll give you an idea of how I would have done it. And we'll start it. I liked how he started it, so I would have done everything the same leading up to when he picked up the mic. When he dropped it a couple times, I liked all that. I think I would have had the tone. I don't know if you've seen the clip of John Cena and Nikki Bella on Total Divas where John Cena comes home and Nikki Bella's making him dinner. And he's like, okay, why are you making dinner in my kitchen? And he's like cleaning stuff up. And he's kind of being like almost passive aggressive, saying, oh, you could have used a coaster here. Oh, I don't want to get rings on my thing. Oh, are you? He's like sweeping off the crumbs and delicately into the garbage. Like, I wanted that John Cena, like almost arrogant, like kind of like, I don't need to be here. I'm not here for you guys. I don't care if you cheer me, blah, blah, blah. So here's how I would have done the promo. For over 2 decades, I've come out to this ring and I've given it my all. For you guys. Everything I did in this ring was for you guys. Not for me, for you. Every championship I won, I shared it with you. Every drop of blood, sweat, and tears that I gave to this company was for all of you. And what did you do in return? You turned on me. You started booing me. You got tired of me winning so much. And that's what happens when you're great. And John Cena isn't just great. I am the greatest WWE superstar that has ever graced this ring. And I realized that even though I was doing that for you, it wasn't because of you. It was because I am John Cena. I am hustle, loyalty, respect. That's not you. You have no loyalty. You have no respect. And you definitely don't have hustle. You guys pay your money to come see me wrestle. And I realized this year was going to have to be different. This last year, this farewell tour, it couldn't be for you. I'm here to win that 17th World Championship for me, to prove that I'm the greatest. I want it to be undoubted. So I had to be a little selfish. I had to make decisions for the first time in my career that benefited me. And I see online, I've been reading, you guys expected me come out here in new gear. You guys speculated new gear, new music. Oh, John Cena, this is so fun. He's heel. I'm not a heel. I'm not a babyface. I'm John Cena, and I'm the greatest of all time, and I don't need you. So you guys keep coming, buying tickets, coming and watch me wrestle. You guys can come boo me. You can cheer me. I don't give a shit. Because you guys can't see me, but I can't hear you. I'm not listening anymore. I'm doing whatever it takes to get to the top. And that's why I did what I had to do. That's my path. And it doesn't involve you. I can't be distracted by you losers anymore. I am focused solely on winning that 17th championship, and I will do whatever it takes to win it. So that's kind of what I would have done if I was writing John Cena's promo, or if I was performing, if I was John Cena. So I did that kind of off the top of my head. I kind of had a couple thoughts and I just went with it. Not bad. Give me a mic. Get me in the ring. I'm going to join the WWE. I'm going to join it. So get in the comments. Tell me, what did you think of John Cena's promo? Were you happy with it? Are you like me? Were you a little underwhelmed? I don't think it was horrible. I don't think it was bad. It was good. It was okay. I'm excited to see what he does. I know his first heel promo, maybe a little uncomfortable for him after being a babyface for so many years. I think he'll figure out his character. Sometimes it takes time to develop it. So I'm excited to see where he goes with it. I hope he wins the championship at WrestleMania because there's so many different avenues they can go down with heel Cena. So I still am very excited for Cena's heel run. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on what you think of Cena turning heel. What'd you think of his promo? And yeah. All right, let's switch gears here. March Madness is this week. Jommy Pogs is very excited for March Madness. I did my bracket. I filled it out. I'm going to give you my Elite Eight, and then I'll narrow it down to my Final Four, and then I'll tell you who I think is going to win this year's National Championship. All right, I got my bracket up here. So let's start in the South. So that's the one that has Auburn as the number 1 seed. I'm not going to go through the entire bracket. I'm just going to tell you who I have in the Elite Eight game, which would be the 2 finalists that make it in this piece of the bracket. So I got Auburn playing Michigan State. So it's the 1 and 2. I think this is one of the weakest sides of the bracket. There's a lot of very beatable teams here for these number 1 and 2 seeds. So, for instance, Michigan State's got to get through Bryant. This is on my bracket at least. Bryant, Marquette, Ole Miss, and then they would play Auburn in the Elite Eight. And I have Auburn, the number 1 seed. They're going to beat the 16th seed. They're going to get to the Elite Eight. So they're going to be playing Michigan State in the Elite Eight. I do think Auburn's a little overrated. I think Michigan State is well coached. Tom Izzo, Coach Izzo, he owns March. He lives in March, and he is going to get his team to the Final Four. I have Michigan State moving on over Auburn to get to the Final Four. And Michigan State to get to the Final Four, just to get there, is plus 500. Just a thought. Moving to the West, this is the one that has Florida, St. John's, Kansas, Arkansas, Maryland. There's a lot of good teams in this one. UConn, they've won back-to-back championships. Can they go for a three-peat? I don't think their team's that strong this year, as strong as it's been in prior years. I do have UConn beating Oklahoma, and they get to play Florida in the next round. That's their prize. That's their prize for being back-to-back champions, is they win one round, and then they play maybe one of the top 3 teams in this entire tournament. And I have Florida beating them. So that ends UConn's run as champion. They haven't lost in the March Madness tournament in 2 years. They lose to Florida. I could see it being a tough game for Florida. Maybe show what kind of will they have and determination, but I think they beat UConn. And speaking on Florida, I do have them going to the Elite Eight game. Who will they be playing? This was tough for me because I do like Arkansas, but I have St. John's getting to the Elite Eight. So another 1-2 matchup, very, very square of Jommy Pogs, but I think the top 2 teams in this part of the bracket, and anything can happen, upsets happen, but St. John's is also well coached by Coach Petrino. And I was very tempted to take St. John's here, but I really like this Florida team this year. They were I had a bunch, I won't reveal who my winner is going to be for the national championship, but Florida was one of the teams that was rattling around in this old noggin for who I was going to pick to win the tournament. So I do have Florida going to the Final Four. Moving on to the East, this is the one that has Duke, Bama, Oregon. A lot of good teams in this one. We'll start with the top here, Duke. I think Duke's a juggernaut. I think they're really good. I'm going to spoil it right now. I didn't pick them to win the national championship. I had UConn last year as the favorite. I didn't want to pick another favorite this year. I do think they have a chance of winning it. They obviously have a really good squad. A little banged up. I know Cooper Flagg's going to play, but who knows how much his ankle's going to affect his speed, his agility, his ability to move. I'm sure he'll be fine, but you never know. He could also retwist it. We've seen that before. So a little scary taking Duke to get all the way to the Elite Eight. I have on this bracket, I was really tempted to take Oregon to upset them. So I have Oregon getting to the Sweet 16 against Duke. I think Oregon will give them a good game. They're a good squad. I did on this bracket take Duke to beat Oregon. I went back and forth on it, and I have Duke in the Elite Eight. Who will they be playing? And this is my first Cinderella team that I have. So I do have Bama beating the 15 seed. I'm not super high on Bama. I know they can score a lot, but they give up a lot. And SEC is not really known for their defense. So when they come up against a team that has a good defense, they're gonna struggle. And I know I just said SEC is not known for their defense, but Vanderbilt is. Vanderbilt's got a good defense. They're in the SEC. They're the 10th ranked team. I have Vanderbilt beating Bama, which will be a big upset. That might be the biggest upset that we see thus far in the tournament. I have VCU beating Wisconsin in the Sweet 16. No, that's not right. I have VCU beating Wisconsin to get to the Sweet 16, and VCU plays Vandy. So I have an 11 seed playing a 10 seed in the Sweet 16. And I actually have VCU beating Vanderbilt. VCU's got a really good defense. So on here, they only the average for opponents' points per game is 62.3. So they have a good defense, and they score 77 points per game. They haven't played a top 25 team, so I'm not too worried about that because I mean they're playing Vandy. They've already gotten up to that point. They already beat. At this point, they've beaten two ranked teams to get here. So I have VCU beating Vandy to get to the Elite Eight and playing Duke. And I think Duke ends their Cinderella run, unfortunately. I think it'd be fun if VCU won, but got Duke making it to the Final Four. All right, moving on to the Midwest. Are you guys enjoying this? Telling you my bracket? It's kind of fun because then you can compare it to your bracket, maybe give you an idea who you want to bet on. And I'll do some bets for who I think is going to win first round matchups. We'll look at potential upsets later on in this video, but I just want to finish my bracket here. So this one has Houston, Tennessee, Kentucky, Gonzaga. I'd say this is the toughest part of the bracket. I think this is the toughest part. Anybody could really come out of this bracket. I think Houston's really good. They have a stupid good defense. Yeah, 58.4 opponents' points per game. Like, that's insane. Houston's going to get to the Elite Eight. I do have a big upset on this part of the bracket, actually, that I want to tell you. And I'm going to be betting on this. So I know I was going to talk about it later in the video, but I'll just give you a little preview of that. I have High Point beating Purdue. I don't like Purdue. I don't think they're that great. I think High Point's got a really good chance of beating them. They average 82 points per game, 68 points against. And Purdue, I mean, obviously they played a tougher schedule, fourth strength of schedule, but I have High Point winning that game. They just seem, doesn't that name High Point? It seems like an upset team, like a Cinderella team. And I actually have High Point winning their next game against McNeese, and then they lose to Houston. So they go on a little run. But who's Houston going to be playing in the Elite Eight? Jommy Pogs is about to tell you. So I have Utah State, the 10th ranked team, beating UCLA, beating Tennessee in a huge upset. Tennessee just never shows up in these tournaments. Like, they can have the best defense of all time. And I watched them, and I've bet on them before. And they just don't score. They don't score. They play these really tight games. They let the teams hang around. It doesn't matter what team they're playing. They play a really conservative game. And I think Utah State, pull up their stats here. So Utah State is 1-0 versus top 25 competitors this year. So they've played at least one game against them. 80 points per game, 69 opponents' points per game. So they can score and they have a good defense. It's gonna be a close game. So I'm taking my chances, rolling the dice to Utah State. And then Utah State plays Kentucky. We've gotten this far. We just beat Tennessee. The momentum's with them. Kentucky's kind of like, okay, like Utah State, they've been playing pretty good. We don't want to lose to this 10th ranked team. Well, you're gonna. Utah State will be playing Houston in the Elite Eight. So the first side of the bracket that I did had 1 and 2 seeds. On this side of the bracket, I have a 1 playing a 10 and a 1 playing an 11. So Jommy Pogs mixed it up a little bit. Have a couple Cinderella teams. You got to have a couple. Utah State, though, does end up losing to Houston. I think Utah State, they blow their load early in the tournament. They beat the 2 seed. They beat the 3 seed. They ain't beating the 1 seed. Houston gets to the Final Four. So now we got Michigan State and Florida playing each other on the one side, and we have Duke playing Houston on the other side. Now, this is where I'll reveal the teams that were rattling around my noggin, who I thought were going to win. Florida, Michigan State. I really liked St. John's, okay? Unfortunately, they all had to play each other at one point, so I had to pick and choose. I had Florida beating St. John's, so they right out of my noggin. I was like, all right, St. John's, I don't think they're going to beat Florida. So I have Florida, Michigan State. Who do I have winning this matchup? Who do I have going to the final? Who did I pull out of my noggin to put in this championship game? And I chose Michigan State. And some of you people might be going, Jommy, Michigan State ain't beating Florida. But I'm telling you right now, they're gonna. And then we got Duke and Houston. Screw Duke, I took Houston. I think they'll have a little. They got so close. It's gonna be so heartbreaking. Cooper Flagg's gonna be crying on the court. Mwah. Too bad, buddy. Houston's better. They're not better, but Houston's gonna win. We got Michigan State and Houston. We got a 2 seed versus a 1 seed, so it's gonna be a good matchup. And I'm just gonna say it. I know this is anticlimactic. You know what? We'll do a little drum roll. Give me Michigan State to win the national championship. 25-1 odds. I freaking love it. I think their path is not super hard. I was super stoked when I saw what side of the bracket they're on. So they have a fairly easy matchup in the first round against Bryant. They're 18-point favorites. Then they play Marquette. Yeah, it gets a little tougher, but they can beat Marquette. Then they'll play either Ole Miss or Iowa State. I have them playing Ole Miss. Only reason being is that Iowa State's missing one of their top two players. He's injured. So I had Ole Miss winning that, but if Iowa State gets by, then we're playing them without their second best player. And if they got up to that point, like, good for them, but Michigan State beats them. And then we play Auburn, who I've said is overrated. I think Michigan State has quite a nice path to get to the Final Four. And then once you get to the Final Four, anything can happen. And you're already there. It's a 1 versus a 2. It's not like Michigan State's a 10 seed. So Michigan State versus Florida. Michigan State's got the coaching advantage. They have that Izzo. I can't state it enough. Izzo is a big factor in me picking Michigan State. This is a really good Michigan State team. Okay, they have a lot of depth throughout their lineup. I think they can match it up with Florida. Florida's really good. One time Michigan State beat Florida, get to the final, and then who knows, maybe Jommy Pogs cashes that 25-1 ticket. So that's my March Madness bracket. I'll just quickly reel off some upsets that I could see happening in the first round here. So I think it's Cal San Diego. I know they're a popular pick to get an upset. They're not even that big of a dog on the money line. They're like plus 130 against Michigan. You guys know I don't like Michigan, so that's kind of a personal pick. I could see Yale beating Texas A&M. So that's that upsets on that one. I have Drake beating Mizzou. I have Arkansas beating Kansas. On this side, Utah State against UCLA. That's a big upset. High Point, like I mentioned earlier, I have them getting an upset. McNeese over Clemson. And I think I have a couple more here. Vandy against St. Mary's. And VCU against BYU. Those are my upsets. Those are teams I'd be willing to take on the money line. You could probably take them on the spread too, and they might be close games. So those are some. Who do you think's going to win March Madness? What's your bracket look like? Who's your Final Four? Get in the comments. Tell me. Give me a paragraph. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm stupid for taking Michigan State. And I also want to hear who you think's going to be some underdogs to watch out for in the first round, maybe even the second round. Okay. So get in those comments and let me know about your March Madness bracket. Are you as excited as I am for March Madness? Right, before I wrap this episode up, I know I talked a lot about sports today. I've been trying to mix in some other stuff on my YouTube channels. I talk a lot about sports on my TikTok and Instagram, but I've been trying to add some pop culture elements because Jommy Pogs likes more than just sports. Big pop culture nut. See, got like some Batman stuff up here. You can see my little baby Yoda, like video games, Darth Vader, Star Wars. Like I love it. I love a lot of stuff. Marvel. But today I'm just going to talk about one of my favorite artists, Lady Gaga. Okay, I'm a big Lady Gaga fan. I'm a fame monster. She just released a new album called Mayhem. I don't know if you like that type of music. If you like pop music, this is a must listen. Okay, she kills on this album. There's at least 6 or 7 songs that have been in my rotation since the album dropped that I can't get enough of. Like the song Love Drug. Disease is really good. Abracadabra is one of her singles, but it's really good. I'm still listening to that one. How Bad Do You Want Me is probably my favorite song on the album. Little nugget there. So worst case scenario, just go listen to that song and maybe it'll sell you on the album. I just wanted to give a shout out to my girl Lady Gaga. Still killing it. One of the greatest artists of all time. Definitely probably a top 3 female artist of all time, in my opinion. I think when her career's done and we look back on her career, I think there will be no doubt that she has left a significant mark on the music industry. She took a lot of risks in the early stages of her career. She wore a lot of crazy outfits and costumes. She stood out. She stood for what she believed in. She does her thing. I love Lady Gaga. I love her music. She's really cool, and she's good in A Star Is Born, which is one of my favorite movies. So she does a lot of cool stuff like acting and music, and she's great. Anyway, that's it for the podcast. Jommy Pogs just had his 30th birthday on the weekend, so I have the week off. I'm just enjoying starting a new decade, figuring out what I want to do. I really like making these videos. I like making these long form YouTube videos. I like doing my shorter form TikTok videos and Instagram videos. Love making content. It's just fun. It's fun. Maybe I'll blow up. Maybe if I'm just consistent with it and just keep doing it, maybe I'll find a fan base out there. I like anybody who's watching this video right now. Always thank you for the support. Means the world to me. And here's to another decade of Jommy Pogs doing his thing, being weird, trying new things, experimenting, and talking sports and pop culture. All right. Love you guys. That's it for the podcast. Thanks for watching. Go Michigan State, baby.